Welcome back to the new campaign trail, where today I'm going to try and pre-record about 2 or 3 of these videos so I have something to put out every week, because my upload schedule is terrible. So the election I am deciding to tackle today is going to be none other. We're going to go with another base scenario, not 2020. Dear God, I am not tackling modern politics. Is 1968. So what an election 1968 was. We're coming off LBJ and the absolute disastrous Democratic primary. You have Nixon attempting again because he's a sore loser. And then you just got Wallace because, he really doesn't like civil rights. His words, not mine. So, as we're going to kind of keep our tradition of playing as the loser, we are, ironically, last time we actually played as Richard Nixon and won him the 1960 election. But today, we're going to run against him in 1968, the election he actually won in real life. And we're going to play as Hubert Humphrey, which was the vice president for Lyndon Johnson. He ended up coming out of that Democratic primary. I cannot tell you too much history about that Democratic primary. I probably should have done some research before this video. I can just tell you, it was a disaster and not very good. So, we're going to play as Hubert Humphrey. And we have Edmund Muskie, his real life running mate. According to this, by going with Muskie, Humphrey would probably be writing off most of the South, Nixon and opening with moderates. Humphrey's a very big liberal, Edmund Muskie as well is a big liberal, and we got some options here. We have Ted Kennedy. So, the youngest Kennedy brother. He's very liberal, but, that Kennedy name recognition could help us. We have John Connally. He's definitely the conservative Democrat. He later does switch his parties, I believe, in 1972. So, but right now he's still Democrat. Governor of Texas. I think one of the last Democratic governors of Texas. We have Fred Harris, Oklahoma, African-American. Is he? I don't think he is. Never mind. Scratch that word. Please don't comment on that. Very young, 37. Democrat from Oklahoma, Harris can help his party make some play of the southern states without alienating the liberal wing. I'm leaning between Kennedy, not Edmund Muskie, but you know what? We'll go with John Connally. We'll balance out the ticket. And let's get going. Alright. What are you saying? Your acceptance speech at the Democratic Convention in Chicago. Will you address the rioting outside and the legacy of Robert Kennedy? I'll remind people that we stand at a critical juncture of the civil rights movement, pledge my full support, and pledge to end the violence in the streets. It is not worth addressing the violence outside. I will make a general pledge for law and order and focus my speech on the trials of the working man. Might be risky, but the other ones are kind of too far to the left. I do want to kind of make a play towards the Midwest, because the Midwest is not as liberal as the Northeast. So, as always, so we'll do that one. The riots outside the convention hall are the 800-pound gorilla in the room. You can't just ignore them. Well, that didn't go very well. What is the overall theme of your campaign? Remembering that the Democratic Party is severely underfunded and divided. Flavor, support the civil rights movements. I will reaffirm my support for the Great Society and pledge to do everything in my power to end Vietnam. Yeah, that one. It's a good theme to carry on throughout the campaign. Cool. Let's go to Texas. What's your overall position on Vietnam? We should stop bombing North Vietnam and attempt to negotiate a peace. Keep unfolding the half measures. We'll never win. Okay, we're definitely not escalating the war because 1968 people are kind of sick and tired of this. War is a national disgrace. I'm in no position to comment. Okay, so we're either going to go for I think we're going to go for the top one. We should stop bombing North Vietnam and attempt to negotiate a peace settlement. This looks to be a real turning point in the campaign. You call for bombing undercuts the argument that you're a stooge for LBJ and is definitely helping you bring back the anti-war vote. Okay, it'll definitely help us. Michigan's very blue now. We're losing still. Arkansas? I don't know if Arkansas is in play. But it might be. What's more important for your campaign, competing with Nixon in the swing states or winning over Wallace voters in the South and some northern cities? I'm going to run my campaign. Whatever happens with those two will happen. Nixon is our main opponent. Ohio, Illinois, California. Yeah, okay, we'll go with that one. I didn't really do anything. We'll go to Ohio. Are you satisfied with the progress of desegregation in the country? And actually unsuited to mix together. Well, that's not a good answer at all. Busing, affirmative action. People are kind of iffy about busing, so we're not going to do that. However, I'm alarmed at the ideas. I think we'll go this one. This one seems like the most pragmatic and the most positive response. Good answer. This appeals to your base. However, you've alarmed and lost moderates. Okay, never mind. I was wrong. Okay, the north is starting to go slowly. Well, like the far north. Are you satisfied with this nation's economic performance over the previous 5 years? Economy is very good at the time, so definitely not going to do this. Squandering money in Vietnam. I think the economy is good. We're the vice president, so we should go and support it. He embraces the economy, satisfies party bosses, and brings the left back in line. At the same time, you lose support among independents as the entire South's too close to Johnson. Okay. Well, we got Texas in line. Johnson is from Texas, so kind of losing. Definitely go to Pennsylvania. If elected, what will you do to get the student and the that word riots in this country under control? I will not be saying that. Law and order is the primary theme of my campaign. We also need to encourage investments in ghettos to ensure high quality of life. Final straw, I will severely crack down on severe disorder. No, we're not doing that. We have peace in Vietnam. Yeah, this one seems like. First priority, that's strong law enforcement. We also need more spending on education and more integration. And more programs to ensure that African Americans can advance in our society after the stain of segregation. Great answer. Yeah. Alright, debate time. RNG. We'll go number 3. Ooh, alright. Nixon refuses to debate, and most voters know it. This will definitely hurt him in the polls. Yeah, you scared, Nixon, or what? Ooh, that really helped us a lot. Hey, look at that. Arkansas's in play. We'll try for Arkansas. What's your opinion on Lyndon Johnson's new Medicare program? We need to end the program. We're not doing that. Support national health care and subscribe to a lot of politicians who did support national health care. I commend this piece of legislation, pretty much supporting it. We need to be very cautious. So we can either go crazy and expand, which I don't think we're going to do because I don't think full liberalism is the way to go in this one. So I commend this piece of legislation. Already we see many Americans receiving health care who would otherwise be stricken with serious and or fatal conditions. This is the best answer for the situation. A presumed answer, though, so that's middle effects. Okay, the Midwest is coming around, but we're still losing. Well, currently we're not losing, but we're not winning either. The Supreme Court oversteps its boundaries in Loving v. Virginia, declaring the state miscegenation state status unconstitutional. We don't want to talk about states' rights. Not really our thing. This one's kind of like going really far anti-government. So I guess this is the second answer is probably the only one that we can really pick here. Probably the best answer. The nation doesn't like interracial marriage, but doesn't want laws pertaining to its legality. Ooh, not a good turn for us. What can you say to the people of the South to dampen the appeal of George Wallace? We can kind of just say he's spoiling it for Nixon, or we can actually do something about it, so I don't want to do this. I mean, it might make sense. My policies work better at cracking down. This might help us for the rest of the country, though. Okay, it didn't tell me anything. We're 6% off that. We're not really winning any of these other states. Do you think the Department of Housing and Urban Development newly created by Lyndon Johnson serves a useful purpose in American life? Okay, we're definitely not answering this. Just skim that answer. I oppose all of I oppose the Great Society, the thing I literally helped create. This one kind of sounds a little too critical on it, so I guess we'll just go in support of it. Fortons love it, moderates and conservatives are less amused. Well, that's not great. What do you think programs that require schools to use busing to achieve racial balance? So busing is a kind of controversial issue. in this time, like, kind of the very far left supports it, but most people in the center and right don't. So let's see. I do agree that education is a local matter. What good is a court decision? We can go full. So these two are like full support and full against. These two are kind of the middle one. I think this one we reform our support against segregation, but we also kind of do our concerns with busing, goals to see every child get an education, so I think that's the answer. This plays towards moderate voters, but turns off liberals. You deprive your base of the previous this enthusiasm for being too cautious. Damn it. Okay. Okay. Nixon's currently winning. He's over 270. What's your opinion on the legality of abortion? Would you attempt to legalize or prohibit this practice at the federal level? Well, full free choice or full pro-choice, full pro-life, that's not going to fly in 1968. So we can go to the state thing, which at the time, the state ground is kind of the moderate answer. And we can kind of go center-right on this. I think we'll go state, because I think the state answer at this time is actually kind of the center-left. Conservative Democrats love it, but it turns out for most liberals support. Okay, well... Okay, the liberal base that we kind of need to turn out against Nixon is not really showing up. Can you comment on the newly created Head Start program? It's a program that we fought for, so I think it makes sense to support it. It's good to stick by your policies, your proposals and policies. Not helping us, though. Michigan's far out of reach. Now it's really up to Ohio, Illinois, Wisconsin, California. Has the current Supreme Court contributed to disorder with decisions such as Gideon v. Wainwright and Miranda v. Arizona? The stuff that gave two court cases that gave a lot of rights to people being arrested, and they're still in great effect today. You ever heard plead the fifth? Over the past 5 years, we send criminals messages. I don't due process for defendants. Yeah, probably the correct answer for this minefield. You have to stick up for liberalism nationally. Oh my God, dude, we're not doing very good. If elected as president, what would you do to lower the inflation rate in this country? Again, we can come out against the Great Society, which is a terrible idea. You can pretty much say inflation's not an issue. We can attack our own party. Okay, so we can kind of just say Republicans are nitpicking, or we can kind of I think we go this, we highlight the strengths and say it's not that big of a deal. Hubert Humphrey, ready to lead the country. Is that good? It helps us a little bit in the Midwest. Would you consider a constitutional amendment to outlaw the birth control pill? I don't... Conservative answer, we have bigger priorities. Yep, that sounds about right. Alright. Should Lyndon Johnson have been able to prevent the Tet Offensive? The Tet Offensive was a disaster for the North Vietnamese. I'm worried that most of all... In 1967, Lyndon Johnson completely assured the North it's difficult to assess the situation. We can't rely on the information. Let's go with this one. But the president hasn't acted against you. The anti-war crowd welcomes you, and you shake off claims that you're merely a puppet for Johnson. So kind of like the answer we said earlier. Man, I don't know if we're going to win. We might deadlock. Which I guess is technically better than Humphrey in real life, but I don't want a deadlock. Lyndon Johnson, in his crude way, swears that he will slit your throat if you oppose his policies on Vietnam while campaigning. Yeah, just saying, well, sorry, LBJ. Oh, the Democrat. They said we're going to lose in Texas. We gained. We got a lot of good polling everywhere else. We're at 43. At least in California, that's 40. So we just got to get California. Crazy that California used to be a swing state when you think about it. What do you think of late Dr. Martin Luther King? No, this is around that time. That boosted a lot of Americans. Yeah, we're not going to say that. Yeah, I think embracing the legacy is probably the best, right? This is the standard safe response. Lost a little bit. Do you believe that President Johnson overstepped his bounds in negotiating the Kennedy round of trade agreements? So kind of the more, it's an interesting thing, kind of a certain amount of protectionism. I think both parties at this time are kind of pro-free trade. But this one's kind of on the extreme end that we don't support it. So I think we just gotta kind of moderate. This is a good answer. You managed to mollify LBJ and also soothe unions who are anxious about the effects. It's not helping me at all, though. Overreacted to the assassination. I'll just say violence is never a good thing. Those vigorously applaud you, but most whites do not believe the police overreacted. Oh man, it's gonna be close. Have you given any thought to programs that will set racial quotas in order to accelerate the process of integration? Yes, racial quotas. I think we gotta go. These two are just too on the extreme end. I've voted demand due to poverty in the urban communities. Oh man, it's gonna be close. Oh man, okay. On the weekend before the election, Lyndon Johnson peace negotiations have collapsed with the North Vietnamese. Even worse, there are rumors that a Nixon operative has sabotaged negotiations. Nixon swears to you on his honor that he is innocent. We'll take this answer. There's two answers. As word gets around that Nixon probably sabotaged the Vietnam peace negotiations, you are the clear beneficiary on an 11th hour surge in the polls. Will it be enough? Let's hope. All right, guys. Let's see if we can get Hubert Humphrey. I think the last time we checked the map, we were in a deadlock. So we'll see how it happens, see how the actual election turns out. It said we benefited massively from the previous, or from the 11th hour surge. 16%, no states have come in. No, there's Indiana. Shocker, they're usually the first one. Georgia for Wallace. Deep South, I didn't think me or Nixon made a play for the Deep South. Arkansas was in contention a little bit, but not really much of anything. Alright, it's currently very close. A lot of the Northeast coming in, obviously expected for us, outside of Vermont. Ohio does come in our favor, which is good. So does Pennsylvania. Michigan was pretty solidly in our camp, so was Minnesota. Illinois does come in for us, which is good. Texas comes in for us, which is good. New York, things are looking good, but we won. Ha! Nice, we won, and yeah, wow, down a lot. Missouri, what was the percentage in Arkansas? 32%. Missouri, we ended up pulling out by 2%. Wisconsin was a close one, 4%. New Jersey I saw was close for a little bit, 2%, about a little bit under 2% actually. Let's see what the West Coast says. If we win California, that's a pretty big margin of victory, at least electorally. And we did. Okay, 87% complete. Looks like Kentucky's the last one to come in. We'll see. Did we win Kentucky? Answer is yes, we did. Wow, what a victory. I think a lot of it had to do with that last surge that we had in the last question. And congratulations, you have won the 1968 election. It looked like a hopeless case as you accepted the nomination, but you have run an outstanding campaign in the interval. Now you must press forward with your efforts to defend the Great Society and to end the war in Vietnam. Failure in the latter case could be devastating when you seek re-election in 1972. After all, just look at what happened to the once lustrous reputation of Lyndon Johnson over the past 4 years. Alright, so we actually do end up winning this election by a larger margin than what Nixon won in real life. Obviously, we did do better than Hubert Humphrey. 348 electoral votes, 33.1 million votes, 45.5% of the popular vote. Nixon, 145 electoral votes to 30.1 million, 41.5%. Wallace coming in dead last, of course. Seeming a little bit worse than we did in real life, but not by much. This is the map, so thank you all for watching this video. Hope you enjoyed. Leave a comment on which election you would like to see next. And yeah, that'll be all for today. See you next time.